Coming to you from Silva, North Carolina, this is TBD SportsCast, college football with your hosts. I'm Mason.
And I'm Joey.
And welcome to another episode 16 of Season 2. We got some announcements for you guys. This is actually our last episode for 2 weeks. We have some finals coming up. We're coming into the holiday season, not a lot of games coming up. The Bowls do start next Saturday, but we'll be back on December 31st for our next episode. But you will catch us on Wednesday, December 29th at 7:30 p.m. for the TBD SportsCast College Football Award Show. That's right. The link for the award show voting is in our bio on Instagram. Please go check that out, and on Facebook. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it's in the description. Please go vote on that. There's only a week left now to vote, so please get your votes in. And then join us, like we said, on December 29th at 7:30 for the TBD SportsCast College Football Award Show. And then join us that Friday, December 31st for episode 17. But this episode is entitled Wide Open in the Secondary, talking about Georgia's defense in the SEC Championship as we get into the Conference Championship review, starting with the SEC Championship. So, yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and take this one. So, no excuses. You can always blame the refs. Sure, they missed some PI calls, whatever.
They missed it on both sides.
They did, but just coming down to it, I mean, no excuses. Literally every time it was a huge pass. And I said last week I was worried about Jamison Williams and John Mechie. I said I wasn't as worried about John Mechie, but he still made an impact. And every time that it was a huge play, it was just because of busted coverage in the secondary. And, we really just couldn't get to Bryce Young in the front seven. Their O-line played way better than a lot of people expected. I think the one thing that is confusing to me is how do you, keep it close against LSU? How do you keep it close against Arkansas? How do you almost lose to Auburn and then show up the next week and do that? That's what confused me the most.
I think my thing is, and it's something we actually brought up earlier this season, Georgia's biggest problem is maybe not all entirely the pass defense, but, like the name of the episode, the secondary is kind of it's kind of skeptical here and there. There has been some deep passes that have been able to go over their heads. As a Clemson fan, I would just like to say I told you so about Darian Kendrick.
I think Darian Kendrick still played well.
He played okay, but
really
when it came down to the big plays, he didn't pull through. With the penalties, it's weird because Alabama showed again that they're not the most disciplined team when it comes to penalties. They still had a bunch of penalties called on them. So when people say it's because of the refs, Yeah, and you can also say, the defense might have felt really comfortable coming into this game and didn't think that, they were going to be bombing passes like that. And I got to say, after that game, I still think that Bryce Young is a little immature and he's young, but at this point, there is nobody even close to him in the Heisman running. He's the guy for me. After seeing the way he played against our defense, and the way he can escape the pocket and the way he played, sure, he makes some mistakes sometimes, but to me, that guy is the next Heisman. The situation with that is the people that they chose to be Heisman finalists, of course, he's going to end up winning it. They chose in order for him to win.
I can see Aiden Hutchinson probably shouldn't be there.
Okay, Kenny Pickett couldn't be there. Kenny Pickett is a competitor, but I think when it comes down to it, too, it's going to come down to popularity as it has been.
I think Desmond Ridder should have been in there. I think Jordan Davis or Will Anderson,
Kenneth
Anderson. Yeah,
Hassan,
Kenneth Walker. But probably Will Anderson more than Jordan Davis, as much as I hate to admit it. I think that Jordan Davis, as far as stats goes, is not as good as Anderson. But Davis he is just such a leader for that team. And so for us and our qualifications for who should be Heisman, we usually go with the person who's like a team leader, like that team would not be the same.
Yeah.
And so for me, that person, there's nobody on Georgia's team who is more of a leader for the team than Jordan Davis to me.
Are you talking about the defensive lineman?
I'm just talking about in the team as a whole. The guy, he leads the team.
Well, yeah.
On and off the field.
But
so, this is a guy who they allowed to score a touchdown on the 1 yard on senior day against Charleston Southern just because.
Yeah.
This guy loves Georgia.
But unfortunately, he wasn't able to pulled the whole team together when it counted in the SEC championship.
And like I said, something felt different about that Georgia team. I don't know what it was.
Just
something
not Georgia.
Something did not feel right. People have been speculating about like, oh, well, they had to lose. The SEC told them to lose so that they could get Alabama in the playoff and they'd get more money and they could both be in. And I was like, I don't think that's true. I mean, sure, speculation maybe, but like.
That actually kind of makes sense. I kind of like that.
Yeah,
but like,
it's a super hot take.
It's a hot take. but I kind of like it, but like.
But it makes sense monetarily if you think about how the SEC kind of tries to control football.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that we're going to see a completely different Georgia team against Michigan. And then I think that, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
But that's kind of my take as a Georgia fan for the SEC championship. I mean, I mean, sure, it could be speculation. It could have been calls from the refs. It could have been, whatever. But ultimately, the job that we showed up to do, we didn't. And, no excuses. We got to play better against Michigan. Hopefully we make it past them. If we play Alabama again, that is the good thing, though. I said this, I would rather lose to Alabama in the SEC championship and be able to play them again for a rematch in the playoffs. I would be way more upset as a fan if it was like we had to win this game to get to the playoffs, like in 2019 when we played LSU.
Yeah.
We had to win that game to get in the playoffs. We were already a one-loss team, didn't win it, and we were out. So, but anyway, Georgia just didn't do what they were supposed to do, and hopefully we'll get to play Alabama again, and I think that if we do, we're definitely going to see another different Georgia team than we played because now we've gotten the, like Kirby said, we can refocus, we can recenter, we can look at everything that they did to us, we can work on that stuff for a month, and we can really get ready for that game. So.
I also think a big factor before we move on to the next championship, a big factor is, throughout the season, a bunch of confidence was established in Stetson Bennett and JT Daniels. It was kind of like it was an iffy one. We know he's a good quarterback, but Stetson Bennett has been playing incredibly well.
Yeah, and he did not play well.
He did not play well, which threw off the rhythm. And then there was a situation where it was like, okay, do we just put a completely different quarterback in?
No,
it's a totally Alabama ended up shutting down the entire offense by stopping one quarterback. Yep. Which happened last year.
You said last week, you were like, I want Stetson Bennett because he's a dual threat, and he wasn't even really able to use his dual threat. Him. No, he threw 3 interceptions.
They didn't run him. They threw with him.
One for a pick 6.
Yeah, they threw with him a lot more than they should have.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, they did.
It comes down.
But I still think after seeing that, I think we need to put JT Daniels in.
I don't know, because I think what happens is just play calls. And when it comes down to it, disguise on defense. Like you can make perfect play calls and stuff like that, but with the disguise on defense, without figuring out what the coverage is, Well,
when it comes down to Stetson Bennett too, and we got to move on, but when it comes down, this is the last thing I'll say. When it comes down to Stetson Bennett, I mean, we saw the old Stetson in the second half against Alabama on Saturday night.
That O-line, though, was also a problem.
It was, yes, but still, I mean, you got to be able to make smart plays. I mean, like, look at what happened to Bryce Young. I mean, I know he's Bryce Young, but look what happened to Bryce Young when we blitzed their O-line and we started pushing back. His O-line held up a lot of the time, but there was times that it didn't, and he had to escape the pocket, and he made the big play. Stetson's got to be able to do that. JT's got to be able to do that. But JT is able to make smart decisions and read the line better than Stetson. So while I am appreciative of what Stetson has done, into where he has gotten us here, I still think, and I'm skeptical saying this, I still think JT is the answer, but I have no idea. But anyway, moving on to the next championship, the Pac-12 championship, which was a complete blowout. Utah won that, and
there's not much to say about it.
There's really not. I mean, Oregon only scored 10 points. It was like 38-10. There's really not much to say. I guess Oregon, I don't know what happened. Watching them, they just seemed so lethargic, and even in the announcers were like, yeah, these guys, like, there's something wrong here. Like, they're just not, performing.
I mean, dude, ever since the Ohio State game, their offense has not been that great. It's not been that spectacular. Their defense has been okay here and there.
It's like they showed up to play Ohio State and then just shut out.
And then, what could also be a factor is, their head coach, announcing that he's going to Miami. He even told the team, so I don't know how long he might have known that this job position was going to be open and stuff like that. There's a lot of speculation to go behind it.
Still way more respectful than Brian Kelly and
Yeah, a lot more of a
Riley,
respectful way of doing it. I mean, it's his alma mater.
Miami did Diaz wrong, though. I mean, they hired Cristobal, and they hadn't even fired him yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But that game, not much to talk about. The next game that also wasn't too much to talk about,
it was
but
a really
kind of
big
interesting.
back and forth, yeah. And we said we picked, Oklahoma State to win, and they didn't. And I just got to say, to that man who ran on 4th and goal with a minute left, just cut in, bro.
Yeah.
Just cut in and use your strength, bro, and you win. That's it.
The whole time I'm watching, I'm going, he's still running. He's still running. Like, I'm like, why are you continuing to go outside? I understand that there was a man right on you, but he was a little bit behind, and you got he had the 2 safeties, but they were still far back into the end zone. He could
just hold the ball out, bro.
Yeah, he could have cut in, gotten that touchdown, and won the game. But I think what the play called for was him to run to the goal post at the pylon, and it didn't work. It was an awful few seconds.
Yeah.
Good win by Baylor. I think they were kind of cheated a little bit after that win.
They should have been ranked above Notre Dame.
But I think what the committee wants to see is, okay, without Brian Kelly, are y'all still good, or are y'all still decent?
Which we'll see in the bowl game. But next up, coming into the Big Ten, which again another huge blowout, 41-3 Michigan against Iowa. It is what it is. I said last week I didn't think there was any way. I was like, there's no way that Iowa was going to win.
No,
this.
there was no way Iowa was going to win it. But
I mean, Michigan's the real deal. But at the same time, they get into the college playoff. A lot of people have been saying, like, a lot of Michigan fans been talking a lot of smack. And I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I can't. I'm not allowed to say much
we
contractually.
Yep.
For this episode, but
moving into the ACC now. That was actually a close game in the first half, and then Pitt just kind of ran away with it.
There's a lot of.
But you being the ACC, what do you think, man?
There's a lot of problems surfacing due to Kenny Pickett's fake slide.
Mm-hmm.
People being upset, saying that it's going to draw for more targeting calls. But, dude, I've been thinking this the whole time. I'm like, why don't you fake going out of bounds? Why don't you fake slide? Like, it's a football game. It's a game. Guess what? Guess where you play it? In the backyard as a child with your friends. Like, this is he played backyard football, which a lot of people find success in. Lamar Jackson found success in it. So I understand the problem.
I think people are getting mad for no reason.
I understand the problem, but I don't agree with the problem.
Yeah.
It was a
problem.
It was a great game by Pitt, great game by Kenny Pickett. I mean, definitely exposed Wake Forest defense in the second half. And, the offense for Wake Forest held up a good bit, but just like that, it kind of crumbled under a good defense.
For sure. And that's the conference championship review. Some upsets here and there, and some upset fans and me. I'm still
happy.
Go Dogs.
I'm chilling.
I'm still Go Dogs though. I mean, like I said, win, lose or tie. I'm excited, but I'm excited for the playoff. I'm excited to see what we do against Michigan, and I'm just excited to see if we can make it all the way. So
I'm really excited to make that pick for the Michigan game.
Next up is our game of the week.
This is always a great game.
It is, and it's the only game being played this week. It's 8-3 Army at 3-8 Navy.
The great thing about this game is,
America's
what? Yeah, it's America's game. I'm pretty sure this is the game where the president starts off on one side of the field in the stands, and then at halftime he walks across, like he goes down, walks across the field, and goes to the other side, if I remember that correctly. Mm-hmm. But a big thing about this game too is it doesn't matter the record.
No.
Both teams essentially know each other's playbook. It's the triple option, and maybe they'll throw it, but they don't normally throw it.
Yeah.
Army has been pretty decent this year. Navy, they had a tough schedule. I mean, Notre Dame, Cincinnati. Can't think of any other teams off the top of my head. I'm going off a lack of sleep. But Army has been having a good season this year. I just don't see Navy winning this. I mean, it's been a rough few years for Navy in this game. So the uniforms are always cool, though. So,
Well, I really want to pick Navy because my dad was in the Navy. But I just know that Army's so much better. So, yeah, I'm picking Army for sure.
Yeah, I have Army for this one. I have family from the Navy as well, but, my brother-in-law's in the Army, so why not?
Yeah, for sure. And that's the game of the week.
Yeah. Not the most eventful, but the one we need.
Amen.
Now, college football playoff rankings came out, and I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical over it.
So for this exact reason, the fact that Georgia went to 3, I'm actually happy that Oklahoma State lost. Because I think that if Oklahoma State would have won, they might have dropped us out and put them in.
No.
You don't think so?
They would have dropped Cincinnati out.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was no way Georgia was getting knocked out of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It was a matter of Cincinnati.
So, I mean, unless you live under a rock, you know that the college football playoff is number 1, Alabama, number 2, Michigan, number 3, Georgia, number 4, Cincinnati. We'll have number 1, Alabama versus number 4, Cincinnati in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. And we'll have number 2, Michigan versus number 3, Georgia in the Capital One Orange Bowl. And like Joey said, contractually obligated, we are not going to make picks on these games
but
yet
we can
until
give our
next
insight
episode. Yeah, we're going to give insight.
The rankings.
Yeah.
Michigan, I think, deserved to be number 1. Unfortunately, I understand that Alabama had a really good game against Georgia, but here's the facts. Georgia, as we can all agree, did not play a good game. They were not Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Michigan, on the other hand, blew out one of the top defenses in the league and did not let the other team score a touchdown. Meanwhile, Cincinnati, I've expressed my opinions on Cincinnati. They had a good game this past week. It was Houston.
Yeah.
And we're not even going to... We already said the whole Baylor-Notre Dame thing. But if anything, if Baylor had a better win, they would be in the playoffs right now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I see it more of Michigan, Alabama, Georgia. And because I have to pick between these 4 teams, Cincinnati number 4. But I know they don't want an early rematch.
Yeah.
So.
Well, my thing is I'm going to disagree with you there. I mean, I think Georgia and Cincinnati are right, but I think Alabama does deserve to be at number 1. And, usually I wouldn't say that because I really don't like Alabama. But, I mean, Georgia either way has the number 1 defense in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have bad games.
Yeah.
Michigan had a bad game against Michigan State. 2 weeks later came out and beat the crap out of Ohio State. Alabama just had, like we said, had 3 bad games last week and came out and, beat the number 1 team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that really, I mean, like Kirby said, it's just a recentering, it's a refocusing. I think that Georgia is a lot better than we led on in that championship, and I think for everybody that's counting us out already, I think that's ridiculous. We got a month to prepare, we got a month to look at film, and we got a month to get ready for that really, really big game. So
I wouldn't say count Georgia out. I just think there's going to be a big game going on at the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
A lot of things are going to go into it.
But I also do agree with you that I don't think the committee they wanted the rematch that soon. The Georgia Alabama rematch.
They did it last year, man.
I know.
Clemson Notre Dame.
And I said I thought they would play for a third
year.
time. Yeah, it was last year. And I thought they would play for a third time, and you said no, they're not going to do that because the committee won't let them, and you were right.
Yeah.
But what it really should have been is it should have been Clemson Notre Dame for a second time, but it wasn't.
Oh, I mean, I've posted on my TikTok the whole conspiracy of the playoffs. I mean, Ohio State, Clemson,
Please
they
go
wanted
watch
that
It's
rematch.
on TBD. It's on our TBD Instagram.
Yeah, it's on Instagram on TBD's at TBD SportsCast, so go check that out. But real quick, we got some bowl games.
This is our first half bowls speed round. Because these bowls are happening before we release another episode, we're going to hit up all these bowls from December 21st all the way to December 30th. And it's, like you guessed, a speed round.
And don't get us wrong, we will be watching these games, so you never know. We may be giving our insight on Instagram, so you might want to go check that out. Go follow us. Hit that bell button as well if you're following us on YouTube as well.
Yeah, subscribe to us and make sure to come back. And yeah, you also may be seeing those videos on YouTube. So check it out. Here we go. First half bowls speed round.
December 21st, UTSA versus San Diego State University.
UTSA.
I got UTSA too.
December 23rd, UCF versus Florida.
Ooh, I got to pick UCF.
No way, I'm going Florida.
December 28th, UCLA versus number 18, NC State.
NC State for sure.
I got NC State as well. It's going to be a close game, though.
December 29th, number 19, Clemson versus Iowa State.
Clemson.
Iowa State.
December 29th, number 14, Oregon versus number 16, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
I got Oklahoma, too. They both lost their coach, bro.
December 30th, UNC versus South Carolina.
I got UNC.
UNC for sure.
December 30th, number 12, Pitt versus number 10, Michigan State.
Pitt.
I got Pitt. The defense is too good for Michigan State's offense.
December 30th, Wisconsin versus Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Wisconsin.
Really? Okay.
Okay, like we said last time when we did the rivalry week bowls speed round. That's a tough thing to do.
It's really tough. Really quick. Yeah, making a pick really quick. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. But not being able to speak it out loud and be able to think out loud is definitely difficult, especially when you've been doing a podcast of constant thinking out loud, deciding for about a year now. So we're just gonna take a second. We're gonna look at a couple of these games really quickly, just talk about them. So the first one, December 28th, UCLA, NC State, San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. That's a mouthful. That is a mouthful. Where? I was about to say, where is it at? San Diego.
So yeah, I think we both picked NC State.
Mm-hmm.
UCLA, I think they're still a good team. Chip Kelly's still a great coach. Thompson Robinson and Dulcich, all those guys, they're really good. I just think that NC State's defense is really good, and I think NC State was underrated this year.
Whoa. Now, as a Clemson fan, I cannot agree with that. But as an ACC fan, I'm going, yeah. But no, this is a tough one only in the sense, too, that, you got a North Carolina team going to San Diego against a California team. Mm-hmm. UCLA is definitely not a bad team. I just think that when UCLA has had to put themselves against tough defenses, or at least, decent defenses, they haven't been able to show through. Meanwhile, NC State, their biggest situation is, kind of a mediocre offense. But when you got to go against a UCLA defense who's also been mediocre, I think they'll be able to pull it out. I hope they can pull it out.
Yeah, same. And this next bowl is honestly one that I'm really excited about. December 29th.
Leave me alone.
December 29th, number 19 Clemson versus Iowa State in the Cheez-It Bowl. I love Cheez-Its, so I'm excited about this one.
I love Cheez-Its too. Hot and spicy?
I like the cheddar jack.
Okay. Not sponsored,
but this is an ACC team versus a Big 12 team, and that's why this matchup is going to be interesting, because both of these teams have struggled this season at times.
Both of these conferences have struggled.
So I'm actually really excited about this one. I know you chose Clemson. I chose Iowa State, and there's no way you're like 16 games ahead of me in record, by the way. So there's no way I'm coming back.
Yeah,
but that's going to be an interesting game for sure.
Yeah, I think that Iowa State's problem is their offense. Their defense has been okay this season, not the best. Their offense has been what's kind of screwing them over. And when you put them up against Clemson's defense,
we'll see.
What are you going to do? I mean, we'll see. It's in Florida, so it'll be fun. Mm-hmm. I wish I could go, but...
Yeah. Next up, December 29th again, number 14 Oregon versus number 16 Oklahoma in the Valero Alamo Bowl, which these guys haven't met up in like 15 years in this bowl. So,
yeah.
But I really, really wanted to choose Oregon. Oregon and Oklahoma, they both just lost their head coaches, like we mentioned earlier. I really had hope for Oregon. But in the split second decision, I had to make it.
You have to think about it.
Oklahoma's the safer option.
Yeah, you really have to think about it. And Oklahoma just has a better, well-rounded team than Oregon. Not saying that they are well-rounded, but when it comes down to it, they essentially have they essentially have the same system. So who's more developed?
Oklahoma, yeah.
And Oregon's not going to have Thibodeau. He's opting out of the bowl game for
and
the
Oklahoma
NFL
still has
draft.
Caleb Williams. They got
Williams.
Austin Stogner.
Yep.
Eric Gray. I mean, they got
Marvin
they got people.
Yeah, they have. I think they have all their people coming back for the bowl game, and especially next season. By the way, congratulations to Brent Venables for the head coaching job at Oklahoma.
Just like in 30 seconds or less, like how as a Clemson fan, are there mixed emotions? Like, how do you feel?
Dabo actually said this a few days ago when it was announced that there's nothing but pride and happiness for him, only because like for 10 years he's been changing lives at Clemson and helping build a great program. So he deserves this. He's a really great coach, and it's awesome to see that he's getting his opportunity to shine.
Yeah. Up next, December 30th, number 12 Pitt versus number 10 Michigan State, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Pitt versus Michigan State. I think I said it during the speed round. I accidentally let the speaking kind of go through. By the way, Chick-fil-A, really good.
In Atlanta.
Not sponsored again.
This is in Atlanta, so Pitt definitely will have not really. Both of these teams are from up north.
They're up north. They're pretty decently close to each other. It's just Pitt has a better defense. Michigan State doesn't have a defense. That secondary, as we've seen, cannot defend the pass very well. The deep pass. Kenny Pickett has an arm. Pittsburgh has a lights out.
But again, I'm excited to see what Walker III does, bro.
I'm excited to see what Kenneth Walker III does. I think that this can kind of show, hey, you kind of screwed me out of a Heisman Trophy. Meanwhile, Kenny Pickett's going, hey, that's my Heisman Trophy. So it all depends. But I think Pittsburgh has a better defense to hold up against Michigan State's offense. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh's offense is good enough just to glide by Michigan State.
Yeah, and we both picked Pitt. I mean, this is gonna be a no-brainer, I think. I mean, it might be a little close. I mean,
I don't think it's gonna be a blowout.
No,
I think it's gonna be a good game.
Yeah.
I think these bowl games were definitely put together very well compared to years past.
I completely agree. There's a lot we're going to talk about in the next episode on December 31st. With these bowls that I'm really, really excited about that we're not mentioning yet, but we will in that episode. So make sure you check it out, because, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of this episode. We really just want to thank everybody from the bottom of our hearts for just sticking around with us and coming with us on a full season 2 this time. I mean, 16 episodes, that's insane. We're probably going to get to 17 or 18. But again, just thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, support for a little over a year now. That's insane. I mean, I remember when this whole podcast started, and it was just we were sitting on a couch watching football, and we were just like, dude, I really like talking about football. Let's do a podcast.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just the amount of support that we've gotten, the following has grown little by little, but that the speed doesn't matter as much as we're as long as we're touching people's hearts and picking people's minds. I think it's really really fun to experience.
Yeah, and once again, just another big shout out to our social media director, Abby Conan, who has helped us so much on the social media front, who has made our social media what it is and helped us, even grow our page and get followers and things like that, and just made our page look even more aesthetically pleasing and all the things that she does for us. So shout out to you, Abby. Thank you so much. But ladies and gentlemen, like we said, that is our podcast.
Yeah, and always remember,
no matter what team you pull for, if you're on God's side, you're always on the winning team. Romans 5:8 tells us that while we were still sinners, he sent his son to die for us to prove his love to us. And we want you to know that there is a God in heaven who loves you, who sent his son Jesus to die for you. And if you trust in him, you can have salvation and freedom from everything. We're praying for you. If you ever need anything, you can always hit up our DMs on Instagram. Leave a comment on this video. We will always get back to you and pray with you and talk with you. And don't forget, go vote on the TBD SportsCast College Football Award Show. Link in the bio and link in this description. And join us on Wednesday, December 29th at 7:30. And we will see you for our next episode after that on December 31st to talk about the New Year's 6 bowl games and everything else coming up with that. So join us there. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Later.